morning.
Good morning to everyone.
Yes, it's good to be near the church, our beautiful church. Welcome to our spiritual home.
We miss everybody.
Welcome to UUCTS, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tarpon Springs. We are a welcoming community. My name is Barbara Kostreva, and I am delighted to welcome you to join this virtual reality Sunday service. Today is exciting. Several members and their children will share experiences connected with and belonging to this faith community. Please go to our website at uutarpon.org and check our calendar for the many connection opportunities we offer. Come and participate. Our mission statement and covenant was just on screen and on our website. May we be reminded that we are not alone, we are connected to build community, to make meaning for ourselves and others. Please join us on Sunday at 11 a.m., October 18th, for our Zoom live event coffee hour. And now, our chalice lighting, written by Jennifer Grayson, connected through the web of life. We light this chalice, symbol of our purpose, to bring more love and justice into the world. We light this chalice, knowing our congregation as a church dispersed across communities, not bound by walls, but connected through the web of life. Bonnie?
All are welcome in this place. Behold love's amazing grace. All are welcome. All are welcome. Bring your hopes, bring your dreams. Mercy flows and love redeems. All are welcome. All belong. Welcome all the broken hearted, all who sorrow and despair. You are not alone, for you are God's own. Together we sing and we proclaim, all are welcome in this place. Behold love's amazing grace. All are welcome. All are welcome. Bring your hopes, bring your dreams. Mercy flows and love redeems. All are welcome. All belong. Welcome all who work for justice, bringing hope, charity, and peace. You are not alone, for you are God's own. Together we sing and we proclaim, all are welcome in this place. Behold love's amazing grace. All are welcome. All are welcome. Bring your hopes, bring your dreams. Mercy flows and love redeems. All are welcome. All belong. Following our opening music, we have our story for all ages. And today it will be something read by Tommy Frayne to his own children.
Hi everyone, it's Tommy here with one of my 3 kids, Thomas. You want to say hi to everyone, Thomas?
Hi.
And I'm reading a story from the UU children's book called What If Nobody Forgave? And the story is A Little Jar Labeled Freedom by Cynthia B. Johnson. Once upon a time, long, long ago, there was a creator who had a hobby of making planets. The creator took pride in making each one different. One day, they looked at a gap in the solar system and said, I think I'll make a planet to go over there. Let me think. How will I make this one? She sat and looked out into the vast reaches of swirling matter and thought long and hard about creating another planet in her collection. She had a very large closet in which she had rows and rows of shelves with little jars with envelopes on them. To begin, she took a large glass jar down from a shelf and started adding ingredients to her planet. A pinch of this, a pinch of that. It went daffodils and puppies and pizza. She added ladybugs and butterflies and fire ants just to make her planet interesting. She poured in lots of liquid from the jar marked ocean and seas and from the jar marked clear lakes, and slowly poured in more liquid from a jar labeled waterfalls. She smiled and added just a dash from the jar labeled mud puddles. She decided to shake in a sample from all her boxes labeled human beings. She combined people of all sizes and shapes and ages, many colors of skin and hair, and different colored eyes, different shaped noses, and many different interests and skills. Overall, the people she sprinkled some powder called change, so that the people would change in size and age, interests, and skills. That will make this new planet interesting, she mused. I'm glad I thought to do this. She looked in the bin called Moods and Emotions, wondering whether she should add a little or not. She started with love, adding more than 2 cups, and then, with a mischievous smile, she closed her eyes and reached into the jar labeled Miscellaneous, where there were bits and pieces of sadness and courage, loneliness and happiness, regret and hope. She shook in some schools and universities. She shook in some churches and temples so that the people could come together to remember what is important in life. She added comfortable shoes and blue jeans and warm coats and bathing suits. From her bottle called Smells, she dropped in just a pinch of chocolate chip cookie smell. Oh, that's pretty good. A pinch of freshly mowed grass, and just to make it interesting, a pinch of skunk. Oof. She amused herself for days and days designing her new planet. Finally, she was almost done. Almost. There was one more ingredient she wanted to add. She turned her closet upside down looking for that one special jar that she remembered that she had never used before. Finally, she found it behind a jar tagged Kalamavada, whatever that is. She carefully lifted down a little jar labeled Freedom. This time, she read the description. The label said, "This compound will aid in the ability to make choices, to choose one thing instead of another thing. Use cautiously because the choices made will have consequences." The creator smiled as she measured out twice the maximum recommended dosage. She said to herself, "This will make it especially interesting." She held the jar open in her hands, slowly turning it as she looked down into it. A soft chuckle rumbled out of her mouth and into the jar. A tear trickled down her cheek and into the jar also. She leaned over and blew in her warm breath. And then she screwed on the cover and flung the jar away into star-speckled darkness. It landed just where she intended. about 93 million miles from her favorite sun. The creator watched her planet settle into its new home. She thought, what a nice piece of work. I hope they'll appreciate all the things I did to make this planet interesting. Then she sat down with a good book, a bowl of popcorn, and some calamavada. That was a pretty good story, huh?
Bless the corners of this church, wall and roof and lintel blessed. Bless the hearth and bless the boards, bless each holy place of rest. Bless the door that opens wide, welcome warm to guest and kin. Bless each shining window pane, let the light of gladness in. Bless the corners of this world, every shore and every song. Bless the nation's hope unfurled. Bless the right and heal the wrong. Bless the dreams that lift our hands, dreams that set our children free. Peace and harvest of the land, blessings and prosperity. Our words of inspiration today will be read by Barbara Kostreva.
A Place of Belonging and Caring by Kimberly Ann Tomczyk Carlson. It is not by chance that you arrived here today. You have been looking for something larger than yourself. Inside of you, there is a yearning, a calling, a hope for more, a desire for a place of belonging and caring. Through your struggles, someone nurtured you into being, instilling a belief in a shared purpose, a common yet precious resource that belongs to all of us when we share. And so you began seeking a beloved community, a people that does not put fences around love, a community that holds its arms open to the possibilities of love, a heart home to nourish your soul and share your gifts. Let's have a moment of silence.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Somos el barco, somos el mar, Yo navego en ti, tú navegas en mí. We are the boat, we are the sea. I sail in you, you sail in me. Now the boat we are sailing in was built by many hands, and the sea we are sailing on, it touches many lands. Somos el barco, somos el mar. Yo navego en ti, tú navegas en mí. We are the boat, we are the sea. I sail in you, you sail in me. Oh, the voyage has been long and hard, and yet we're sailing still, with a song to help us pull together, if we only will. Somos el barco, somos el mar. Yo navego en ti, tú navegas en mí. We are the boat, we are the sea. I sail in you, you sail in me. Every year we have a Give the Plate collection to provide Thanksgiving turkeys for the families of the Head Start children. They are so appreciative of our gift. Many of these families may have even more need of assistance this year. This is our feel-good moment when we get to show the holiday spirit to our local families. Those of us fortunate enough not to be worrying about feeding our families can help the families of these precious children to have a Thanksgiving meal. Please be as generous as you can. You can mail a check to 57 Reed Street or donate on the church website. Please indicate that your donation is for the October Give the Plate for Head Start. Today, our message comes from many of our members of this church. And our first member to speak about what the church means to them and why they stay is Diana.
Hello, my name is Diana Reif, and I was raised in a UU tradition. 3.5 years ago, my husband and I had decided at 75 and 82 that our life as snowbirds from other remote places where we had attended UU services would not suit us as we aged. We planned to sell our 2 small places and began exploring. My 2 sons had some connections to Pinellas County, but did not live here. We didn't want to be on any of the big interstate corridors and wanted good medical care. So we came to Pinellas County for exploration and house hunting. We knew that if we were to move to a place where we knew no one, we would want to be able to find a UU congregation. We had kind of zeroed in on St. Pete for house hunting, but we knew there were also UU congregations in Clearwater and Tarpon Springs as well. On a Saturday, we made an offer on a house in Palm Harbor. And on Sunday, we decided to check out the UU Church in Tarpon Springs. Our GPS took us to a broken old church building with no trespassing signs and orange tape to keep everyone away from what was clearly a building in need of massive repairs. The sign out front said that this was indeed the UU Church of Tarpon Springs. We called the church phone number and got a recording directing us to Walton Avenue in Tarpon Springs to the local recreation center. By that time, we were a little late, not much, but nevertheless, Barbara Kostreva welcomed us warmly from her greetings table. Reverend Bob Murphy was leading the service and noticed the two strangers and later asked us to introduce ourselves and also spoke to us after the service. The service was in March of 2017 and included stories about personal experiences by members to honor Women's History Month. Linda Mondano's 5-minute talk that day particularly hit home with me, and I approached her after the service to speak with her. She was overwhelmingly receptive, welcoming, and warm. All the vibes from the UU Church of Tarpon Springs were good that day. It seemed to me to be a Goldilocks church, not too big and not too small, but just right. Our house offer was accepted, and we began the agonizing process of preparing to move and selling a condo in Key West and a little house in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Georgia. It wasn't easy, but we persevered successfully, and here we are. Once we moved into our Palm Harbor house, we returned to the Tarpon Springs UU Church and were once again warmly greeted. We met with Bob, the minister, had some questions for him. We decided we would not even bother to try out the Clearwater or St. Pete churches. We knew we had found a home. My guess is that our enthusiasm was infectious and noticed. New members with serious intent are usually fodder for committees who are always seeking help. I accepted membership in the worship committee where I am still active. A couple of years later, I was voted in as a member of the board of trustees. My husband and I offered help with many volunteer activities, and my husband built a mini book library, book exchange for the book club so that we could leave it outdoors because we can't gather in the church anymore. The old church, which had experienced devastating sinkhole damages, was renovated, and we moved back to our beautiful church building a year and a half ago. The coronavirus has kept us from in-person meetings and services, but I spend several hours a month in Zoom meetings, YouTube services, book club on Zoom, and I think I am almost as active as ever. After Bob retired, we were even able to hire a wonderful new minister this summer, thanks to the miracle of Zoom. All of this has really helped me deal with the isolation brought on by the virus. Oh yes, my son and his family relocated to Palm Harbor, so we are able to have socially distant get-togethers with them. Masks are now a way of life, and so is the UU Church of Tarpon Springs. This church is a family for us, and we're grateful for the many friends we have made in a place where we knew no one. And now Betty Lou will speak.
Hi, I'm Betty Lou Cummins, and how I came to the UU Church of Tarpon Springs. Unlike Diana, I knew nothing of Unitarian Universalism whatsoever. My father was Catholic, my mother was Methodist, and so, like so many others, I was nothing, except that my grandfather did pick me up and take me to the Methodist church in town. And I ended up in a Methodist college where I met my husband. But still, I considered myself really nothing. I did not want to hurt either side of the family, bottom line. So anyway, met my husband, and he was in the Navy at the time. So we started our travels overseas. The military chapels were ecumenical in nature, which suited me. I knew enough after having gone to Sunday school in the Methodist Church and college to understand that there were many ways to approach spirituality, and I could not set myself in one particular path. The ecumenical based chapels suited my needs to an extent. But I was quite sporadic. I lived in cultures. I lived in Arabic cultures, Philippines, Korea, Buddhist cultures. I was all over the map. I had a friend in Germany in my last assignment when I was there, shortly before I retired, who asked me to go to a Unitarian Universalist service with her in Germany. She said I would find wonderful people there, and I would appreciate it. Well, I never had a chance to go with her, but I promised her that once I retired and left Germany and landed here in Florida, that I would look up a UU church and see what it's all about. I promised her I'd give it a try. So I retired in 2013 and landed here in Florida, knowing nobody. And shortly after I settled a bit, I went online and discovered that there was a UU church in Tarpon Springs. And I thought, oh, okay, we'll give it a try. Well, I didn't have a GPS, so that first Sunday, I think I circled Spring Bayou 3 times before I found the church. But when I did and walked in, I was made to feel so welcome. Everyone was so friendly that I thought, this is rather a nice place. And then the coffee hour afterward, again, I discovered how welcoming and friendly everyone is, and also how interesting they were, very thoughtful people. The sermon had impressed me. Part of the reason why I decided to stay. I've often teased another member, Greg Rosasco, because he was giving the talk the morning I showed up. And his subject was something about mathematics, science, astrophysics. It was way beyond my scientific knowledge, but I thought, these people will make me think I'd better stay. So I came again. I came back. And the sermons were thought-provoking. I appreciated them very much. The social justice aspect of the church is one that impressed me, putting beliefs, whatever those beliefs were, to work. And also working together on problems. It was just a few months after I started attending that we had the sinkhole problems, and we were out of the building and needing to work together in a democratic fashion to solve that problem and get our building back in operation. And so I continued to go to the Walton Center for the services. And I decided, I think it's been about 2 years ago now, that this was a church I could join. I have, in my decades of life, I had never before joined a church anywhere. This was the one that spoke to me. Ecumenical, I think describes it. As a child, I remember the Bible verse in John 14 that says, "In my Father's house there are many mansions." And I believe that is the truth. And this church exemplifies that belief. There are many ways to find a spiritual being. We need not think alike to love alike. It's the first church I ever joined for those reasons. My needs were met. Thought-provoking people, thought-provoking sermons, tolerance in action, social justice for all. And when we get back, the building is beautiful. We look forward to that. And now we'll hear from Barbara Wilson and Alex.
What's one thing you remember that you liked about going to church when we were in the buildings?
Like at the end of church, nobody knows that I'm running around, and nobody tells me to stop.
The first time I attended the UU of Tarpon was in the Walden Center, and that day I walked in, I was a complete mess. It was maybe a week or so after I had filed a restraining order against my ex, and went in there, just sat in the back with Alex, and just waited. I'm not sure what it was for, but I was looking for something and I didn't know what. One of the friends, Ariel, just slipped me a note with her name and her number and said it looked like I needed some support, and if I was ever in need to talk, I could feel free to call or text her. I did text her to say thank you for the note, and I really appreciated it. Donna stood up and talked about one of her joys was hearing a child in the church and having Alex there. That first thing, the first time I showed up, somebody recognizing the need I had, even though I didn't know what it was my first sign that the UU of Tarpon was the right spot for me. I continued attending. I think it was maybe 3 years before I formally joined, once my divorce got finalized. But it was basically what drew me to the church was that they had no idea who I was, what I was there for, but it felt safe. It felt like a place I could go if I needed help. Church members have always been there, even when they didn't know me, when there was something that might be needed, whether it be to have somebody when I exchanged my son, to support the Haven and domestic violence, to allow me to start taking over, or not even taking over, but start having leadership roles, just supporting me when I was celebrating something. The church itself really has felt that even though I'm not one of the older members, I haven't been there forever in age, Alex and I are some of the younger members, we never felt like we weren't wanted, like we didn't belong. We always felt like we were respected just for who we are, and that our interests, even if they weren't something that the church was specifically working on, they were incorporated, they took them to heart. When I asked for advice on something, or asked the Social Justice Committee if they would be open to looking into something for me, it was immediately done. There was no question as to whether or not it was something that the church itself was focused on. It was something along the lines of, this is important to one of our friends and we might be able to help. I keep attending because they've always been open to welcoming my friends, welcoming my family, welcoming myself and Alex, and figuring out what they can do to support us and include us. As we moved into the new church, into our building, well, I should say a remodeled building, one of the first things done was finding somebody in childcare to ensure that I could continue attending, that I could see the services, and that Alex might have a place to grow. With our new minister, Reverend Christina, well, she recognized the need for children's programming, and with so many other things on her mind, she was able to connect us with another UU church in Pennsylvania, and Alex has attended his first Zoom anti-racism seminar for kids pre-K through, or kindergarten through second grade. This particular church, this community has welcomed us with open arms, didn't turn us away because we were the only ones of a younger age for quite a while. And in fact, really said, we want you here. We don't care what's drawing you here, but we want you here. They've celebrated with me when there's been joys. They've been concerned with me when there's been concerns. Members have reached out, and really, it feels like a home. It feels like the community that I've always wanted without having to be forced to believe in something that I don't believe. Just, it's a wonderful place to know that there's always someone there.
One more step, we will take one more step till there is peace for us, and everyone will take one more step. One more word, we will say one more word, till every word is heard by everyone. We'll say one more word. One more prayer, we will say one more prayer, till every prayer is shared by everyone. We'll say one more prayer. One more song, we will sing one more song, till every song is sung by everyone. We'll sing one more song. Our closing words will now be spoken by Barbara Kostreva.
Our closing words are by Cynthia Landrum. Be true, be well, be loving. We leave this gathered community, but we don't leave our connection, our concerns, our care for each other. Our service is to each other, to the world, and to our faith continues until we are together again, friends. Be true, be well, be strong, be loving. Bonnie.